Washington Observatory. We have taken him out of his hole. He's going to tell us, are there 6 more weeks of summer left?
There are 6 more weeks of summer left, Chris.
Nice. Probably quite literally, I think.
Yep, we're supposed to get some very warm temperatures this week, so I wouldn't count on any wintertime conditions just right around the corner yet.
Right. Now, I think it is a shame that we have the groundhog for winter, but we don't have one for summer to tell us whether or not winter is coming. Because this time of year, we were talking about it off camera, this is one of the most annoying times of year for me, because everybody's making prognostications.
Right.
You know, how bad the winter's going to be, when is it coming, and then of course we have fall foliage here in New England, and everybody's predicting, is it going to be a good foliage year, is it going to be a, but we're still in summer. I don't want to rush it.
Right. There's still some time, get out on the water, get out camping. It's still going to be beautiful for several more weeks, definitely.
Looks like a good weekend this weekend, and you said next week looks
next week's
nice.
going to be pretty warm, yep.
And he knows because he's in the laboratory, we call the Mount Washington Observatory, making concoctions every day, experimenting with different things. Yep. You guys have a lot of great ways to experience the weather, both on the summit and down here in the valley.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's start down here in the valley. If someone's in North Conway Village, what can they do?
Sure. So at the north end of the village, opposite the Eastern Slope Inn, we have the Weather Discovery Center. It's our the public face of our organization. It's our weather museum. So it's open daily from 10 to 5, and it's a free museum. We have lots of different interactive exhibits that are great for the whole family. We have a gift shop as well. And twice daily, we have an opportunity to connect live to the summit of Mount Washington through video conference.
It's very hands-on. I've brought my kids there many times, and they always love it. And the nice thing is, you mentioned it's free. You can just kind of go in on a whim as you're browsing the shops in the village. You go to Zeb's, you have a root beer, and then you go to the Weather Discovery Center, and the kids can play for an hour.
Yeah, it's great. Especially if the weather's not that great outside. It's one of the places that fills up first in the valley. So.
And you get to see the summit of Mount Washington without actually having to go to the summit. You get to experience a little bit about what the observatory is like.
Yeah,
but for the real experience, you need to go to the summit. Yeah,
so later on, as the winter comes around, we have opportunities to take groups of people to the summit with our winter trips program. So on our website, we very shortly will have a completed schedule for the winter 2014-15 season. So that's going to be really exciting. So these overnight trips and day trips as well give folks the opportunity to visit the summit in the wintertime, which is when it reaches its most ferocious.
Right. It's something that most people will never get to see in their lifetimes. Usually an environment like that is reserved for polar adventurers and extreme alpinists who can climb the most severe ice cliffs and faces, but you guys actually make it accessible for pretty much anybody. Right,
pretty much. Of course, we have some health and safety requirements that we kind of go through before folks sign up. But again, it's this once in a lifetime opportunity. We're not camping outside. This is inside our observatory facility, which is housed inside the Mount Washington State Park. So it's pretty comfortable, but we do get the opportunity to go outside, explore the summit, again, in winter, get to see all the rime ice and all the rocks covered in snow and ice. It's absolutely beautiful. I think of it, especially later on in March, April, it kind of looks like the planet Hoth. Then when the rest of the world's starting to wake up from the wintertime, it's really fun to go up to the summit of Mount Washington, where it's literally another planet, and experience that different world.
Yeah, I got to do it last, I want to say March it was, and it was a fantastic trip. If you're into photography, I know you guys have different overnighters, and you can learn about different topics from geology to weather, and then you have some photography special ones.
Yeah, exactly. So our day trip programs don't really have a theme. It's just Mount Washington Observatory. You go up for the day, you get a warm meal, you get some time to go kind of behind the scenes in the observatory, and then you leave in the afternoon. But our overnight trip programs, those take place typically on weekends or Friday, Saturdays, and each has an educational theme. I'm actually leading one this year, life, work, and environment on Mount Washington. So talking about the observatory and the science that we do, but also about the unique ecology and the unique kind of challenges that animals, plants, birds face when they're living up there in the summer and in the wintertime. And as you said, of course, there is a photography one. This year, we're getting at least a couple of our staff observers involved with that photography trip, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
There have been some amazing photographers who have come out of the Mount Washington Observatory, and I don't know if they've gotten their start as a photographer at the observatory, or the observatory was fortunate enough to have these good photographers join them as observers. But
I think that's really it. You know, you're up there in this beautiful environment that just beckons to be, photographed, and so you're up there, and it gives you a lot of time, a lot of downtime to really hone that skill. So we've really produced some amazing photographers who've gone out into the world and then come back and actually help lead these trips, which is pretty amazing. One
of my favorites is Jim Salge, who was a former observer who now is every year the foliage blogger for Yankee Magazine. They look to him as the foliage expert, and he's seen it from the top of the highest peak in the Northeast, so he knows the foliage patterns in the area.
Yeah, perfect. Well, he's a good friend of mine. He'll be leading one of the photography trips this winter.
And his photography is absolutely incredible. You can see a lot of it on mountwashington.org. What do you think? Good foliage year?
I think it'll be a good foliage year. It's really hard to say. We are seeing a lot of foliage start to turn right now. Typically, it's the swamps and the lowland areas that start to change first as some of those plants get that water stress. But it's hard to say. I think it'll be a good year. So watch out late September, early October. It's right around the 1st, 2nd of October that I see it peaking. Madison, Conway, and it starts moving.
Yeah, it's. I was driving through Pinkham Notch this week, and there were some low-lying maples that were already starting to turn bright red. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Excuse me. I'm definitely not ready for this. I'm choking on my sorrow. Let's see, Sunset Soiree, if you were planning on doing that this year, it's sold out.
Right, well, this is our fall fundraiser, another great opportunity to get to the summit of Mount Washington. It's a Saturday, September 6th. Check on our website. I believe it's sold out, but perhaps you can plan for it for next year. It's an opportunity to go up to the summit, have some dessert, have some wine, watch the sunset. It's absolutely beautiful. Definitely check that out. Yes, play with Marty if he's around.
Marty the cat. What else is going? Anything else we should talk about going on with the observatory?
Not right now. I think we've covered most of it. I actually should say, as we are talking about that, one of our trustees, Brian Fowler, who's also a well-known geologist in the area, he is actually leading a geology workshop later this month. I believe it's the 3rd weekend in September.
Wow.
Check it out at the events section of mountwashington.org. So that'll be great. That'll start at the Weather Discovery Center. It's an all-day field trip around to different favorite spots that Brian has picked out around the valley. You can check out superficial geology. So pretty awesome place for it.
Mountwashington.org is the place to be. MOUNT Washington.org.
Correct.
And you can see up-to-date weather information, summit conditions, live cams, which we love, and information on all these different educational opportunities and events that you guys offer. All right, Will Broussard, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
We'll let you head back into your gopher hole now, and we'll pull you out in 6 months and see what we have left of the winter.
Sounds good.
Will Broussard from the Mount Washington Observatory.